two to one. I'm Carrie B.
I'm Sunny,
I'm Rachel O.
and then I'm Sunny. Of course, we're gonna work on the intros. We're getting there. We're getting there. But Carrie's gonna lead the intro.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about health. Sunny, would you like to start us off?
Well, damn, I was expecting a little bit of a longer intro when it comes to health. Um, just to add on that tidbit, we will be doing we'll be doing point 0.5 segments with featured guests. We're trying to work out, find a balance of something that's good for us before we even continue to. Before I even get into my segment, I just wanted to let you guys know that. Um, yeah, so you'll see a lot of people, whether it be close friends of ours, random peoples. We're gonna try and get people, to sponsor us as well. We did have a few people that were interested in have their music played during our podcast. So you'll be hearing a lot of different variety from us as we continue on, with our baby as we cultivate it and grow it into the masterpiece we all see it as in our heads. So that's just something you guys can stay tuned for. But yeah, we're gonna kick off the segment. The major umbrella topic is health. I believe I'll be covering physical. Salima, you're covering what? Oh, Rachel.
Rachel,
Oh, that's a leak for you
Mental
guys.
health.
Mental health, and Carrie will be covering
sex health.
sex ed. So, yep, strap in for another sex ed class. You had it for about a year or two in high school. Now you're about to get it again for reasons we all enjoy. All right. So, my overall general topic when it comes to physical health is, basically the perception and societal standards that comes in what's deemed as healthy. Um, my experience and my research, it doesn't matter, what body size you have because we all have different metabolic rates, but physical health is defined as the condition of your body taking into consideration everything from the absence of disease to fitness level. Physical health is critical for overall well being and can be affected by your lifestyle, your diet, your level of physical activity, and certain behaviors such as drinking and smoking. Just a cliche cop out, one would be Peter Griffin from Family Guy. You guys probably know him pretty well. Um, Actually, in a few episodes, he's actually considered and deemed healthy. He's just fat, and the only reason he is fat is because of his level of drinking, because beer has a lot of carbs. It's gonna soak up all that alcohol, and it's gonna stick. Aside from whatever Lois's feeds him, which doesn't seem to be anything crazy, because I think I've only seen Lois cook about a handful of times, probably more than that. Maybe I'm crazy, but Peter's usually not ingesting things outside of his home diet unless he's outside of his home, and that we can't necessarily account for. But it's just the overall topic that I wanted to talk about because it's we're in a point in this day and age
Fit.
where fit is fine, but we're starting to slowly accept all different types of body types. Especially, I can recall a time where Beyonce did an interview and she talked about, her love handles and everything after having her children. And then everybody just started to embrace, the, what did she call them? Do you guys remember? She called them the moops or something. And everybody was like, I'm going to love mines. I love my moops or whatever, and it was good. It was slightly empowering, to show that we're
I
accepting
don't remember that.
of all different types of body types. Let me see if I could pull that up. But while I'm doing that, I wanted to get you guys' opinions on, to the today's projection of being healthy and to the standards of,
Mhm.
physical appearance that's happening in today's day and age.
All right.
Well,
So, dang it, Rachel.
sorry, go ahead.
All right. So, my opinion on health, physical health. I feel like you said, Sunny, it all depends on your metabolic, whatever you said. But I want to talk about something that's like personal to me. I feel like some people may know this, some people may not, but I feel like we all should like get our hearts checked. I think people should go to the cardiologist, even if they feel like they're fine and they feel like they don't need to. I think you still should get it checked because recently I went to the hospital for pneumonia for what I thought it was pneumonia, and I ended up finding out that I had acute congested heart failure. And hearing that, you automatically think the worst. You think, oh my God, my heart is dying. I'm dying. So I feel like if I were to like went to the cardiologist sooner, then they probably could have like not caught it, but like I would have known sooner and I wouldn't have to go to the hospital to find out that I had this disease. So that's just what I wanted to say about that.
Yeah, because checkups are definitely
I
normal when it comes to making sure everything internally is working right and everything is doing what's got to do. Kind of like a car engine, but I'm not gonna get car tech on the show. So, Rachel, you were gonna say something?
I was gonna say I feel like appearance is definitely the focus on. It's what everybody perceives you are. So like just judging by how you look, like answers for like your techniques and what you can bring to the table. I feel like people are focused on that rather than how healthy you are. Like I understand what you're saying, Carrie. Everybody does need to get checked out. But many people aren't doing that because they're too focused on how to appear to a certain person to fit that person's needs.
Mm-hmm. I
Because
agree.
yeah, because there are two ends of the spectrum. Like I said, with outside factors that do come into play when you think about just overall what's the perfect weight I should be at people, I feel like everybody's constantly judging themselves, and I'm personally, biased of this myself. I always think, what if I could be a few pounds lighter? What if I got rid of, that stomach fat and I have that six pack that I've always wanted? And then they look at themselves in the mirrors and they kind of tear themselves down,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like you're fighting yourself. And then for most people, it just puts you into an even deeper hole. And, you say, oh, I'm never really going to reach that goal. So just let me be so and so. When it's also the opposite end where there are people that are like, um, what I need to gain more weight. I'm too skinny. I'm basically a toothpick, and they'll just people are. My point is, people are constantly going to judge themselves, based on, what they see on social media, what they see, in real life. They always feel like they're not perfect, and it's all about learning that as long as you're healthy and you're learning to become more comfortable with your body, and
Mm-hmm.
as long as you're taking care of yourself, it shouldn't really matter what other people think or the perception that other people give of what's perfect. It's your idea of what's perfect for you that matters the most. And for for some that could be a harsh lesson to learn. And it's definitely something that took me a while to understand myself. You know, Again, I've been on a power trip. Watching Power. I know that I will never look like Ghost, but it's there in the back of my mind. So it's a little something for me to work towards when I go towards the gym. Be able to pull off the shirt and everybody's like, damn. So for the most part, I am comfortable with myself, no matter how I look. Whether if I'm down in a six pack or a 24 rack of beer, I'll do it. Saying I'm doing this for me because I like who I am, and then I down the 24 pack of beer. That's just how it is.
I have a question to ask you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you guys think that in order to feel good, you have to look good? Or do you think in order to look good, you have to feel good?
Yeah, it's definitely for at least for me anyway. It's a matter of confidence, and confidence can be it's a weird term how it's used. People say you need to be more confident. You can't be more confident. It's something that resonates within yourself and how self assured you are. So I
Yeah,
feel like if you feel good, no matter what you put on, if you embrace it, you personally love it, you're gonna look good. That's my opinion
exactly.
of it.
Okay.
I agree.
I agree too.
Because all everybody knows when I put on my anime graphic tees, and
Oh
I'm walking
God.
around with a nice button down, nice pair of jeans, some good kicks. I feel good, all
Oh
right.
God.
And I put on my favorite cologne. I feel good. And, I may look weird to everybody else, but I walk out my house like I'm that mofo. So I don't care what nobody says.
That positive,
Yeah,
it
that's,
definitely gives off that positive energy.
yeah. And then it just radiates with everybody, especially when I'm going into work. You end up having a better day, and everybody else is happy around you. So that's how I feel about it. All right. So now we're just gonna wrap up. We're gonna kind of tie it all into one nice little bow and just kind of just mildly reiterate everything we said. It's how you feel, how you look. As long as you're taking care of yourself, the doctor's saying you're healthy, you're getting your regular checkups, and they're like you're great, then you actually are great in every way, not just physically. Just
I want to add
everybody
something to that.
everybody has
Sorry.
a sense of greatness inside of them. What were you gonna say, Carrie?
Okay. So, like you said, you look good, you feel good, whatever. Now, another thing I want to say, add to that is there is like this thing that's going on social media. Like, I know you guys know the Shade Room, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they have posted this photo of this, plus size woman, and she was modeling some name brand clothing, whatever. And people in the comments was like, "Oh, she knows she shouldn't be wearing that," and try to body shame her, and that's something that I really hate. I feel like if somebody is confident enough to wear what they wear, leave them be. She was confident, she was feeling herself, and she looked nice. So that's something I just wanted to say about that. And another thing is, you could be a skinny person and still be unhealthy, and you could be a more bigger person and could be considered healthy. It's all about your inside. If your heart is not right, then you're not really healthy. If you have diabetes, you're not really healthy. If you have medical problems, you're not really healthy. And that could happen to somebody skinny and that could happen to somebody bigger. So you can't really say, oh, she's unhealthy by just looking at her. You don't know how her medical history, her medical condition is. She could be healthier than, let's say, somebody who's like really skinny, whatever. You can't really judge a person by the way they look and say that they're healthy or not. That's all I want to say.
I mean, some people view big people as like people who need to hide, be more conservative because they show a lot
Mm-hmm.
in body area. But to be honest, it doesn't really, I feel like that defeats the idea
Mm-hmm.
of having, self-worth
Yeah.
into the mix. Because it's like, if a skinny person can rock like a mini dress, why can't a bigger person rock a mini dress? Just because they're
Mm-hmm.
showing a little bit too much, so what?
Right, and that
Oh,
leads into how society places a value on what it's almost like it's a point system on what's deemed good and bad based on body types, outfits, and just certain overall scenarios. And
yeah.
everybody's gonna have their own opinion, but it's all about, again, at the end of the day, how you feel, how you're projecting your energy, and what you allow. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, as long as the doctor says you're good, you feel good, nothing else should really truly matter. You know? Okay.
I
So
mean,
then,
look at Liz.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Lizzo. No, you're fine. You can continue what you were saying.
I mean, look at Lizzo. This girl,
Yeah.
she's a big girl, and she comes around here dressed all in any type of thing. She twerks and plays the flute at the same
Mm-hmm.
time.
Oh,
Yep.
That's awesome. Some people this insane, but I feel like she knows her worth. And if once you feel good, you're gonna look good too. Everybody's going to feel how you feel.
Yeah, and it's to the point where even 50 Cent commented on that post. I was like, when I saw that, I was like, okay, 50 Cent like the big girls. All right.
Yeah, he
Mhm.
All right, we know what the next season of Power is going to have. Let's get it. All right. All right. But yeah, with that, we'll cut off that segment there. You know, again, just reiterating: if you feel good, the doctor says you're good. Nothing else should really matter, and that, you know, that's the biggest takeaway from at least my segment that I wanted to have. You know, you're always gonna feel some type of that you're lacking in some way, shape, or form, and that's fine, as long as it doesn't become an overwhelming matter. You know, you don't let, you know, the thoughts or perceptions of others impact how you should feel. And that's a nice way to roll into our next topic, which will be taken over by Rachel, which is mental health. You want to kick that off, Rachel?
Yeah. So mental health for me is a very serious topic
Yeah.
because
Somebody has background noise.
not me.
If you have background noise, remember to mute yourself.
So I personally struggle with mental health. I have social anxiety and bodily dysmorphia. And I feel like as far as checking myself into the hospital, I was treated with respect, but also not treated with full respect, if you know what I mean. Once I got inside the hospital, I'm expecting people to, make me feel more welcome and everything. But I just felt like I was being like stared at, being poked at and everything. And it just got me wondering, do people take mental illnesses seriously? Like, do you guys think that it's just as important as like getting your checkup for your body?
I feel like mental health is a big part of, you know, what I consider I have these pillars in life, which is health, wealth, love, and happiness. I take that from Ty Lopez's 67 Steps, and I take that to heart. I take it very seriously. If you can be the most, you can be working, you can have the best job, you make six figures, you have a family, but if you're dealing with a lot of baggage in your head and you don't know how to talk about it or work through those problems that you have inside, you know, are you really 100%? And you know, I know a lot of people that, you know, that are successful. Hell, I know, you know, my time in the Marine Corps, I knew a lot of sergeant majors that were great leaders, absolutely great leaders. You know, everybody in their command loves them. They were open up all the way from that lance corporal all the way up to that staff sergeant to that master sergeant. You know, sergeant majors that went above and beyond. But you know, it was always those inner demons that they were fighting that led them to suicide. You know, and it led to one of my friend, a close staff sergeant of mine, while I was at the range for a short period of time as a range coach, loved him. Great man, the greatest man you could ever meet. You know, he put in for the potlucks. He had his family cook for Thanksgiving. Great man, but you know, he got out, and then I guess, you know, I don't know what he could have been battling, but a year later, after he got out, you know, he committed suicide. You know, I wish I had seen it coming. You know, I loved him.
Yeah.
I played Call of Duty with him every day, and I always wondered, you
Dang.
know, why he didn't get online. And it wasn't until a year later one of my fellow workers in the Marine Corps told me that, hey, you know, killed himself, and it hit me, and I was in the smoke pit, you know, just smoking my vape, and we was having a conversation. I saw his bracelet, and I was like, no, there's no way that stuff's on. And he was like, yeah, it is. It hit me. So it's like not a lot of people, you know, realize that your mental health is an important part too. There always has to be somebody that you need to talk to. So,
Yep,
you know, you shouldn't care
exactly.
about that person when they're gone.
I mean,
You
look at
should you
Robin.
should you should care about them when they're talking about their problems while they're alive.
Hmm.
And that's why even on social media now, I always emphasize, yo, doesn't we're friends on Facebook for a reason. Whether you know me from a hole in a wall or an associate, a friend of a friend, if you're going through something, my name is Sunny on Facebook. Hit me up. Or if I see your status, I'm gonna comment and say you good. Do you want to talk? Because that's the first step to intervention in getting somebody back on that right path. And I always hold myself to it whenever I'm scrolling through Instagram or Facebook. If it's somebody that's on my friends list and they say they got a problem or they don't know how to deal, I'm like, yo, do you want to talk? Do you want me to call? Do you want to hit, I'm gonna message you in your inbox something to let them know that somebody cares at that moment because they wouldn't be posting that on Facebook for no reason. They're posting
Yeah.
it as a basically a help me sign, and I always answer it no matter what. So I always take mental health as a big deal. Anything from schizophrenia to depression to suicidal ideation to body dysmorphia to anxiety, social anxieties, anything along the lines of that. I'm always try to my best to be there for people because you just never know, you know. So
Yeah.
that's always been my take on it.
Um, I want to say something about that. Um, I agree. You never know what a person is going through. And sometimes people go through stuff and they don't want to tell others because they either feel like they don't want to burden their problems on other people, or they just want to go through what they're going through by themselves. And sometimes I feel like, if you're going through something, you should reach out to people like your friends, your family, or even see a therapist if you need to. But sometimes you want to go through stuff by yourself because sometimes people are not for you. You tell people your problems and they'll put it on social media or they'll end up telling other people your business. So you feel, I don't want to tell other people what I'm going through because I'm scared they're going to go and tell everybody and I don't want everybody to know my business. So that's what I wanted to say about that.
And I actually, it's just a small little
Okay.
snippet that I do want to say on top of that is dealing with mental illness in a African American family or even other small minority families. I know that in my personal experience growing up, I didn't realize what I was dealing with was anxiety. I tended to obsess over small things. I like to have certain things in order. I always wanted things a certain kind of way, and if I didn't, I would always freak out. And I try to find some way to control something within my immediate area. And little did I know that was me expressing little bits of anxiety because I always wanted things to be a certain kind of way, not in a sense that it's how I wanted it or it's my way or the highway. It was just it made sense. Things would be a lot easier if we did it this way. And when it came to, expressing those ideas to my family, they always thought, oh, you're fine. You're just being obsessive over things. It's no big deal. You're going to learn to do it my way, so on and so forth. As in terms of they didn't really want to acknowledge what was going on with me. And then with me being in the military, you know, given whether or not you've were in a combat zone or not, even in times of peace, commands aren't always that great. And I'm not shitting on my command. I loved it. But, it's just certain situations, certain things that happen throughout your life, in that time that it becomes hard to deal. There's a reason why there are stress hotlines, suicidal hotlines that always, catch you before those things. And I ended up leaving the military, with mild depression, anxiety, and just overall small bits of OCD, just because of how my transition was going with everything that was going on with my life. And then again, me trying to express that to my parents at the time, or any of my family members really. They was like, oh, you're just going through a lot. You're not really, you're not what they say you are. You don't have this anxiety. You're not really dealing with depression. You're just going through a lot. You're
Exactly.
stressed. You're stressed. Just take a chill pill. You said you smoke. Just smoke a little bit more. Vape. You vape just a vape a little bit more. you'll be all right. You'll get over it.
Mhm.
It's no big deal. And even
Right.
now, I'm still dealing with those senses of, I do have my highs and lows, and
Mhm.
I'm dealing with them now. But
Yeah.
it's just one of those, type of things that is always ingrained. It's like, my family doesn't think that mental illness is really a thing, and it's bringing
Mhm.
awareness to that is what I'm trying to show them now. And it
Yep.
only took, me talking to my mom that she realized, okay, yeah, you are actually going through something, and she apologized to me for it. Because back then she didn't know, or even as I was transitioning out of the military, that I was going through a lot. She just thought I was stressed. It wasn't until I, confided in her about, certain incidents and, things that I did that she realized, okay, you do actually have something going on. So now we're on the same page and it's good now, but it just shows that a lot of minority families don't recognize or even want to acknowledge mental illness because they think it's weak or you're coming up
Yep.
with excuses or, you know, whatever it is that they think. And, it's bringing awareness to it that's a big thing. And again, that's something that I'm 100% for as well.
I think I agree with what you're saying because you tell certain people, "Oh, I'm depressed," or "Oh, I have anxiety," and some people would just be like, "Oh, well, all you got to do is get out of the house or go do this or go do that," and it's like
Right.
just telling a person to go do something. That's not really helping the issue. If you like, it's like me, okay. I have some times where I'm just in my house and I'm depressed and I don't want to go out and I don't want to be around other people. I just want to, go through what I'm going through by myself. And then if I tell somebody, I'm so depressed in this house is depressing and all this other stuff, they'd be like, oh, well, go outside or go here or come over here. And it's like, one, I can't always do that because one, I am a single mother. I can't just up and leave my child whenever I want. Two, I'm home most of the time because my mom's working. So I have to watch over my grandmother. And three, I'm not the type of person to just go outside out of nowhere just because I'm depressed, you know? So I feel like just telling a person that's going through something to like suck it up and get over it, it's like not helping. It's making this matters worse. Because then the person's gonna feel like one, you don't care, you really don't care what I'm going through. And two, they're gonna feel like, well, you're not helping the situation, so I'm not even gonna bother telling you anything anymore.
Mhm. And it just
So yeah.
creates a whole problematic dilemma within, your immediate family. And it can lead to a lot of people just separating. That was actually one of the reasons, well, it's not one of the reasons, but well, it was a factor in one of why a few of my sisters ended up leaving the home the way that they did, which was arguing with my mother. Um, but, it happened.
Mm.
Everybody's going through their own stuff, and it's just taking the time to acknowledge it and, you know, dealing with it the right way. That's the
It,
biggest thing.
it seems like nobody can. God.
No, we're fine. It was just like whoever's phone is on vibrate, take it off vibrate, put it on silent. That's what that was. But no, you can go
Uh,
ahead. No, we finished talking. Rachel, you can say what you were gonna say.
I was going to say basically that. Oh crap! I think I lost my train of thought. Oh, basically nobody seems to care until after everyone is like
Mm-hmm.
passed on. Until
Yeah, and that's not.
like just look at Robin Williams
Yeah, he's a good
for
example.
like how long, and you would never know
Mm-hmm.
that he was going through something until he actually took his own life.
Yep.
So I think it all depends on how you express it,
Mm-hmm.
and for people to take the time
Yeah, you're cutting
to
in and out a
notice
little.
that type of need.
You're cutting in and out just a little bit. Just
I
wanted to
think
let you know that.
that person be fine.
Yeah. Hey Rachel, I think you're having a little bit of technical difficulties on your end. I heard what you said, but it's a little bit
Mm-hmm.
staticky. So,
Yeah.
mm,
Hello?
hello.
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're going in and out just a little bit.
You heard what I said?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
heard
heard
what you
what you
said.
said.
Like I said, you get a little choppy, little choppy.
Um, so I think
So
we
yeah,
should.
yeah, we can tie that up by saying, this is just something that you want to have awareness with. Always recognize the signs. And try to not just gaff off people and just really take it as something serious because you never know if they're on their last lifeline and they're really trying to
Mhm.
reach out to somebody. You could be that
That
Mhm.
person.
definitive factor. you know I had the ability to be that definitive factor for a few people in my time in the Marine Corps. And those people will always be people that I care about and that I talk to still to this day. So, you know, always have that helping hand. If you can't help them, guide them to somebody that can help them. You know,
Mhm.
don't just always gaff it off. Try. And if you're going through something yourself, don't be afraid to reach out for help. Even if you don't want to talk to friends or family, there are always hotlines that you can call. There are suicide prevention hotlines. There are stress hotlines. There are even hotlines for people who have anxiety attacks, people who have panic attacks that you can just program into your phone, and then within like a minute of dialing, you'll be with somebody that can help you calm down. You know, just always, as long as you're willing to take that step to protect yourself and protect others, we can, work together and fight, mental illness and make it a better place for everybody. And having and enjoying life is one of its greatest pleasures that you can ever really have. Being able to be free, do what you want, and enjoy life for what it really is. And rolling that into the next topic, there's always many ways to enjoy life, from taking trips to, you know, getting that big promotion or spending a special time with a special someone or somebody that you meet for a day. So the next topic will be sexual health. And this will be the sex ed class that's given by Miss Carrie. I'll let her take it away and she'll give us our intro into sexual health.
All right, guys. Hey. All right. So I want to start this off with a question. So my question is, how often do you think you and your significant other should be having sex?
Every day.
Every day. Okay, Rachel.
Every day.
I say at least like 5 times a week, at least. Need some type of rest or something.
Yeah. I kind of agree with Sunny, mainly because I like sex. So, yeah. But
Well,
also, I
then,
feel like, but I also feel like when you're in a relationship with somebody and you guys have intimacy, I think sex is also important too. Because, if you're not sexually attracted to that person and you're not having sex, there's a possibility that one might step out of a relationship and cheat. And then there's also a possibility that your relationship might fail. Now, I'm not saying sex is everything in a relationship, but I think that it's important to have it. But, if you can't have it every day, then try every other day. But at least make sure that you guys have sex at least once a week or maybe twice. Just at least try. So that's
yeah.
what I want to say about that. Another thing I want to talk about is celibacy. As a person who is celibate, me and Rachel,
Mm-hmm.
I think that, when you're celibate, people think, well, for one thing, people get wrong is they say, oh, but you have a child already. How are you celibate? I'm like, wait, I never said that. Eh. celibacy and being a virgin, people kind of get mixed up. They think, oh, you're not a virgin. How are you celibate? And I'm like,
Stupid.
right. That's why I was like, I told this guy, I was like, I'm celibate. And he was like, don't you have a kid though? And I was like, is he serious? Like, really? So I actually pulled up the definition of celibacy and I had sent it to him. Now, being celibate, the definition is abstraining from marriage and sexual relations, typically for religious reasons. So basically, I'm not saying that I'm not going to have sex before marriage because we clearly know I already did. But what I'm saying is I'm trying to refrain from having sex or sexual relations with the person until I feel like we connect on not spiritual level, but like on another level without the sex being involved. So until I feel like we, can make a connection, I'm all down to have sex. But for now, I'm just like not focused on having sex when I'm in a relationship, even though I'm single right now. But I'm just saying. So that's basically what I want to talk about celibacy. And another thing about celibacy is that people think it's really hard. To me, it's not because I feel like I have so much other things going on in life that having sex is like the last thing that I really care about. So for me, it's not hard to be celibate. There are some times where I have some urges and I just be like, oh my God, he looks so good. I want him. But it's like, then I think, why would I want to have sex with him when I could be dealing with my education or I could be working on this podcast? So I feel like when you're celibate, you do have urges, but things that you should try to do is find things that can take your mind off of sex. Take up a hobby, try knitting, read some books, go out with friends, take your mind off of the sex. Anybody has anything they want to add to that?
Well,
Um,
I'll say this by saying, if you decide to take up celibacy, that's fine. Great on you. You're making that decision to not engage in that type of physical activity in a sense that you're trying to better yourself, or you're trying to do things for yourself, or you're trying to do something more for the relationship. That is all fine and dandy. There's nothing wrong with that. Even up until marriage, if you want to be celibate until marriage, as you work your way through relationships, and you're just trying to focus on yourself, that is fine. But
mm,
even if you're dealing with celibacy, don't knock those urges. If we're talking about full on celibacy, I mean, not even touching yourself. I don't know. I personally can't commit to that. But if you're talking about just stopping yourself from having sex with other people and you want to just be to yourself, but you're still giving yourself the old razzle dazzle, that's perfectly fine.
Razzle dazzle. Oh my
I, I,
gosh.
I gotta can't use explicit words. I would. I don't even know if we're doing a rating system, so I'm gonna just keep it PG.
When you don't have to keep it PG, just say it. Like we all adults on here. Like
Okay,
any
well,
little kids listen.
if you're trying to pleasure yourself, then by all means, shoot it. Go for it. Use that shower head. Use that fleshlight. By all means. So, I just always feel like there's a balance between the two. At least for me personally, I have no problem being celibate. But every now and again, I'm like that person working in the mall. She can get it. Mm,
Okay.
yeah. So there's nothing wrong with that. Just
Yeah.
just be mindful of your P's and Q's. If it's really something you're trying to commit to, definitely keep your wits about you. If it's something that that's a temporary thing and that you could or that you're planning on breaking it at any point in time, and that leads to actually a question that we mildly talked about before we even started the show, which was if you're committed to celibacy for reasons of trying to bring interest back into a relationship, you know, when's the cutoff point for the celibacy and you can start, having sex again within a relationship. And then also, if you're celibate for your own personal reasons, albeit, you don't want your next relationship to be about sex, and you want to focus on yourself and not really have the next relationship you're in, have that be the contributing factor. What are some of the cues or some of the things that need to be arranged in order for you to say, okay, this person has, done XYZ, they fulfilled my needs, my wants. Let me not be celibate with this person. And I asked that, and I wanted to get you guys' opinions just for the record. What do you think of breaking celibacy with, somebody you're currently in a relationship with? What would need to happen in order for you to break that celibacy? And also when meeting somebody new, what would they need to do in order to be able to break that celibacy? I'm not saying that they, we're trying to find a way out, but just in a sense that, what needs to happen in order for you to feel comfortable enough to share that type of connection with somebody while you're being celibate? That's my question to both of you.
Rachel?
Well, they can't be all up on you talking about sex 24/7 now.
I agree.
They need to have some type of respect for what you want in a relationship and then share those needs, as well as be able to like humble themselves
Mm-hmm.
to the point where you can just go out and watch a movie, you can just talk, you can just sit there and I don't know, read a book together.
Okay.
Right. Find what makes each other happy without being physical. If you can't do that, then it's not going to work. Nobody's going to want to do nothing.
Ooh, okay. All right. That was a good one.
Now,
Oh, sorry.
now, let's say you're meeting somebody new, you're continuing to be celibate. What would influence you to break that celibacy with that new person?
It depends on how long you've been with them.
So let's
Because
say
you
you've
can't
been dating for about 3 to 4 months. What needs and
months.
wants would have to be met just for you, for you to be able or want to break that celibacy?
Hmm.
Mm.
I
Uh,
guess
Hitting them with
you want
hard
you want to
questions
take that on,
today.
Carrie?
I got this. I got this.
All
For
right.
one, he gonna have to need to like be able to do it at his place. I'm sorry because having sex here is not happening. I have a whole child and I have a grandmother that's always here, so that ain't happening. Two, he gonna have to come correct, and I mean that like he can't just be like Rachel said. Can't we all talk about sex? I don't want to hear that all the time. Let's have a conversation about politics. Let's talk about what president you want to vote for. Let's talk about if you know how to cook or not, because I'm a big girl. I like to eat. Let's talk about anything other than sex. Like, another thing is he gotta have respect for me and my child. You can't be I'll invite you over sometimes, but when you over here, don't try to be all silly on me and try to do stuff and my child is right there. That is a no-no. Have respect for my wants, my needs. What I want is for you not to be all over me. Respect that. Another thing is I shouldn't feel like you have other females on the side. Because if I feel like you have other females on the side, then go get the sex from them. Leave me alone. You know, have something going for yourself. I don't want to feel like you are not working, you're not in school. I don't want to deal with somebody like that. You have to have ambition. You have to know what you want out of life. So, yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay. That's fair enough. And then I'd pose the same question to you, Carrie. If you're in a relationship and you're celibate, what would that person need to do in the relationship in order to sway your opinion and want to have sex again or have sex if you've never had sex in the first place?
Okay. If I'm in a relationship, right? What I'm gonna need is for him to get his shit together. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. I mean, he's going to have to make me feel like he actually values my feelings. I'm gonna need him to make me feel like it's not all about sex with him. I gotta feel like this relationship is not based off of sex. I'm gonna need to feel that if we do decide to have sex, he's not gonna run off and be with somebody else, you know?
Hmm.
So that's basically what I feel like.
So you want that sense of commitment.
Yes.
Everybody does.
I
Yeah.
mean, everybody wants to feel like they're number one and the only one.
Yes.
Sadly, that's not the
Hmm.
case in relationships nowadays. I mean, dating is a whole different
Yeah.
topic altogether. So, getting into that, you're open to a lot of bias, a lot of opinions, which is
Hmm.
overall, at least in just my short, brief opinion, if you're dating and I'm celibate, if you want to go fuck somebody else, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna care. You know, we're dating. It's not like we're saying we're
In a
committed to
relationship.
each. We're not committed to each other. So if you want to go fuck
Hmm.
somebody else while you're trying to get at my dick, go ahead.
And don't come back either.
Because I can't personally hold feelings against you if we're just talking. You know, if you,
Listen.
as long as you're honest with me, I'll be honest with you. If you're like, oh, we're talking, I enjoy the time I spend with you, but I am talking to somebody else, then I'm like, right, that's fine. It's no issue. But things
Listen.
things can still go as status quo. But the moment we're committed
Hmm.
to each other, the moment you say you're talking to somebody else, I'm gonna kick you in the throat, hands down.
See, I agree with you, but to a point. The thing I don't agree with is if me and you are dating and we're talking and you decide you want to mess around with somebody else, you can go do that, but don't come back to me because when I'm dating somebody or I'm talking to somebody or I'm trying to get to know them, I'm trying to get to know them so we can try to probably build something. I don't talk to people just to, hey, I'm talking to you. Yeah, that's right. We're talking. That's it. And then boom, that's it. I'm talking to people and dating them because I see something in them that makes me want to be with them. So you telling me, oh yeah, we're dating, but yeah, I'm about to go smash somebody else. Then it makes me feel like, well, why are we even dating? Like, what is the purpose of the dating if you smashing everybody around?
I mean, because and that's the thing that I personally don't understand. We're kind of going, it's a little bit off topic, but if you're dating, right, you're in a sense that you're courting. Back in the day, people used to court multiple people at one time. You could,
Hmm.
But
it's not anything new. I don't understand the new concept of if I'm talking to you, you should be the only person that I'm talking to. That makes no sense. But if
no,
but if we're talking and we're saying that we're both committed to this, then okay, then that's a whole different dynamic because that's saying that hey, I see something in you and I want to develop that, and I'm only going to be committed to you. Like dating, when you're dating, and ever since back when it was called courting, there was never a sense of commitment to one person. Not really. There was
yeah.
never really a sense of commitment to
But
one
look
person.
what that has happened. That caused? That caused so many pregnancies, caused so many transmitted sexual diseases and shit. You got people dying from freaking um what's that disease? What's that disease that people be dying
And
from? Huh?
AIDS.
No, not that. Syphilis and shit. And now look at that. You courting different people,
I mean,
sleeping with so
but
many people at a time. Like that's just
then that's you not taking care of your sexual health. I make it a deal of mine to get checked every 6 months, whether or
hmm.
not whether or
yeah.
not I've had sex with people or not. And I
Yeah.
always practice safe sex. I always do what I
Mm-hmm.
gotta do, make sure it's always wrapped up,
Mm-hmm.
so I can avoid situations like that. There's nothing wrong with casually dating. There's a reason why it's even a thing to begin with because it's casual dating.
There's nothing
People.
wrong with casual dating, but it's something wrong with dating people and sleeping with everybody that you're dating.
So you're talking about casual sex. Now, casual sex is a whole different topic. If we're talking about casual sex, that's somebody that goes out, they meet people, whether, they may or may not have sex with them. It doesn't really matter. Then then you're getting into a whole different topic where you could be possibly putting yourself at risk. And you go, also, there are a lot of dangerous things that can come from that, like pregnancy. Well, pregnancy is
Hmm.
not a danger, but you know what I mean. It's a lot of life
Yeah,
changing decisions that can come from you casually having sex with people. But on a sense of casually
that's
dating, there's nothing wrong with
I
that.
agree. I agree, but I think people get those two things like confused. Like when I tell people, "Oh, I want to date," they automatically think, "Oh, so you want to date, mess around, and get to know each other." No, I'm like, no, I'm not looking for a fuck buddy. I'm not looking for friends with benefits. I'm looking for someone I can get to know and see if I want to
Yeah,
continue to build something with them.
yeah. You want to jump into the
Yeah.
dating pool. You want to see what's in your
Right.
local area. You want to see what
Right.
everybody's about. But but because you're experiencing that person to see if they're worth something when you're casually dating. When you're casually fucking, you're just trying to have a good time for like maybe one or two times and never talking to that person again.
Yeah.
There's a
And
difference.
that's I want to also
Or
talk about why do guys, because Sonny, you're a guy, so I'm asking you, why do guys feel a way when a female says, like they ask you, "Oh, do you want to see a picture of my dingaling?" Right? And then they send it, and you're like, "What the fuck is this?" And then they ask you, "Oh, tell me your honest opinion," and then you give your honest opinion, and then they feel some type of way. Like you asked me, you
okay,
asked me.
okay, all right. I'll answer that, but we're also gonna go into our rapid fire round. The rapid fire round is everything. It encompasses everything that we talked about today in health. So you guys can prepare for that. It can be on anything from sexual, mental, and physical health. That's just for the rapid fire round. But to answer your question, um, first of all, let's start with unsolicited dick pics. If so, you're sending an unwarranted or an unasked for dick pic, you're automatically a douchebag.
Yes,
You you
yes,
you're gonna you deserve to get blocked. But if you ask respectfully, I've seen in my experiences when you ask a certain females are perfectly fine with getting dick pics if you ask first.
yes.
They're perfectly fine with it. But then when you ask for their opinion and you get an honest answer, you can't be mad. If they say your
Mm-hmm.
dick's small, or it's weird
Yes,
looking, or it's
yes.
blacker than fucking Batman, or whatever they may say, you have no right to be mad. Like you asked
Yep.
their opinion. Well, you wanted them to hype you. You want the you're asking them to give their opinion in hopes that they would give you an ego boost. And when it doesn't turn out the way you want, you're salty as fuck. Just don't ask
Mm-hmm.
for their opinion. Just let them enjoy the dick pic. If they end up masturbating to it and they don't tell you, just think about it. Give yourself that own confidence boost. Not trying to be a dick, but
Yeah.
the goal is to, if you're sending a dick pic, you already know that you feel some
Mm-hmm.
type of confident about your shit, right?
Yep.
Leave it at that. Just leave it at that. It's not fair. Because if you go any further and this chick is like, oh, I don't like needle dicks, then
Okay,
you
Sonny.
then you're messed up. You can't feel no kind of way. Just take the inch. Don't ask for the mile because you're gonna.
Oh my God.
It's not always gonna be what you expect it to be. Okay. But that's playing to like however it goes. But just don't put the cart in front of the horse. That's my opinion on it.
Oh Lord. Okay.
All right. So with that being said, we're gonna jump real quick into a 5-minute rapid fire. As you know, there's a reason why they call it 2 to 1. The two females of the show are gonna ask me a multitude of questions in quick succession about any of the three topics that we talked about today here on the show, and it's my job to try to give the most God, I'm forgetting the word, sophisticated answer as possible. All right. So with that being said, we got 5 minutes of the rapid fire round. Whoever wants to start it.
Okay,
Rachel,
I'll
start.
start. So I wanted to ask, do you think it's hard to date a person with mental illness?
Ooh.
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like it's not. It's honestly not. It can be challenging if you don't know exactly what that person is going through because, I personally have been in relationships where it wasn't clear to define what that person was going through, and it made it
Mm.
hard to communicate and interact with them. But if they're transparent, they know what's going on with them, they're seeking their self-help, it's always, you can always be that bonus, push them to get that, to a better place. I always go by the campfire rule. Leave that person or whatever it is you're dealing with in the same, if not better condition you found them in. If you can follow that and if you can have a healthy relationship with that person, and they're progressing, I see nothing wrong with, dating somebody with a mental illness.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Carrie, go.
Okay, my question. My question is, as a guy, right? Okay, yeah, how do I put this? Okay, as a guy, do you feel that it's hard to date a female that has health issues?
Um,
Not mental health issues, but like physical health issues.
so when it comes to physical health issues, it can go either or. It's very dependent upon what that person is trying to do for themselves. If you're dating somebody, that has health issues and they're not trying to help themselves, it's like you can lead a cart to water, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. I would put myself in a position to try to get them to be, the better to be in a position to better take care of themselves. But if they don't want to do that, you see their health deteriorating. I see no point in sacrificing my time and my energy to try to push somebody to do something that they don't want to do. Now, this is where you're going to hear a lot of controversy about, oh, you're not loyal to that person. The moment they give up on themselves, you're going to give up on them too. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you've tried, you put forth the effort, you're saying, hey, let me help you with your diet. Hey, let's try going to the gym, or hey, let's work on that knee pain you might have, to see what we can do to kind of work around it. And if they're just like, no, I don't want to do it, just leave me be, and they're continuing with those habits that got them into that position in the first place, it's at that point where I just have to just let them go and be a lover from a distance or a friend from a distance because I personally can't be with somebody that doesn't want to take care of themselves. But
Okay.
if they're making the attempt to take care of themselves, by all means, I'm with you 100%. Whether it's as small as you just simply changing your diet, or you trying to maybe go for walks and you've never taken walks before, I'll support you 110% as long as you're trying.
Okay.
All right.
I have another question.
Yeah.
Do you think it's healthy to be in a relationship with somebody that you're not sexually attracted to? Like
No,
you're
because
attracted to them, you think they're cute and everything, but you don't feel that sexual energy between you and them.
if no attempts have been made, then I wouldn't even not write it off. If I tried to, look at that person in a different light and it's just not happening, then I wouldn't even put myself in that position because then I'll just be in a relationship with somebody that I just think of as a close friend. Because that's the definitive factor between relationships is that physicality. Even if it isn't in a sexual way, if I don't feel comfortable with your touch or you touching me, not even in a sexual way, then it's hard. You know, if I
Yeah.
if I can't be around you and grab you by your waist and feel slightly turned on by you, then it serves no purpose to me because I'm just gonna
Mm-hmm.
see you as a friend.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right, Rachel.
I kind of had a similar question. I was gonna ask, does physical appearance matter when it comes to sex?
Ooh.
Mm. Physical appearance. Um, yes and no, because throughout your life, you're going to be attracted to a lot of different things. Whether it's an accent, whether it's a body type, whether it's a nationality, doesn't matter. You're going to be attracted to a lot of different things throughout your life. So it's all dependent on what you're feeling at that moment. You know, if your physical appearance is not something that turns somebody on, then okay, but there's always more ways to be attracted to somebody. Like I believe they're called sapiosexuals that are highly attracted to intelligence. That is has
Mm.
no definitive physical boundary on a person. It's all mental, you know? So in my opinion, it's not a definitive factor, but it's a contributing one. I feel like
Mm,
for me anyway, I feel like I am attracted to a person's mentality, how they think about things, how they plan things out. If you're making boss moves or you're handling difficult times, that's a huge turn on for me. So
Okay.
it's not a definitive factor.
okay.
All right, Carrie, and then one more. We'll end it with Rachel asking the last question.
Okay. My question is, why do men love big girls so much?
Because they got something to hold during the winter times. You know what I'm talking about? Somebody, if they're big, you definitely know how to cook, or they got parents that know how to cook. So when you go over for the holidays, them dinners be slamming. What? It's just overall, it's a nice, it's just a nice aura to be around because if you can be big and you can be confident in yourself, it's just all the more to know that
Yes.
you know I can bring my girl out. Everybody will be comfortable. They'll be looking at her weird, but she's confident in herself. She over there wearing like some off white, looking like a big gallon of milk. Like, all right, let's fucking do it, babe. Let's do it. So
Oh my
a
God.
lot of people have that personality and that mentality when it comes to people, women of bigger size, and the same thing for
Mm,
men of big size. A lot of women like bigger men because they be keeping them warm at night. So
yeah.
it ain't nothing wrong with it.
So
Everybody,
summertime.
there's somebody for everybody. That's what I say.
Okay. Rachel.
Last question.
I was gonna say, do you think that okay, I was gonna say, why do men care about someone else's physical appearance but not their own?
Oh.
That is honestly that doesn't just tie to men. I'll say in my personal opinion, I've seen it happen more with women than men,
Mm,
where they'll set these standards of what they think is right and wrong as in terms of physical appearance, but they're not trying themselves to meet that standard as well. So, like again, like I said, everybody has their own personal preference. Everybody can love who they want to love. But when you're presenting your preferences in a sense of being shallow or off putting or just an overall douchebag, that's where it's like, your preferences is kind of makes you kind of a dick. So
mm,
if I was like 400 pounds, I was overweight, I wore glasses, I was breaking out all over my face, and I said I wanted a supermodel because that's what I want, and they fit all of my needs. I feel like they're everything that I want, and and you're shaming fat women. Like I don't want a fat obese woman, somebody that's X, Y, and Z, but you're somewhat of that yourself. Then you're kind of a hypocrite, you know
Mm-hmm.
and that's where the shallow narcissistic part comes in. Don't idolize a body type or a preference in a somebody and then shame whoever doesn't fit into that category of what you want because you don't fit into the category of what you want. I understand that if you were a six pack or you were slim thick or whatever, and you wanted somebody just like you, and even if you do tend to, if you'd want to shame, granted that'd make you a dick, but at least
Mm-hmm.
you're meeting the standards of what you're asking for.
Yeah.
And that's my opinion of it. I don't know if I answered your question. I kind of it was a bit broad, so I tried to narrow it down a little bit. Did I end up
You
answering
answered
the
it.
question? Okay. So yeah, and
Yeah.
that's my opinion on that. So yeah, that was the rapid fire round. I'm glad I was able to answer some of your questions. Hopefully, I gave you guys some fulfilling answers. You know, and with that, we're gonna wrap up the show. We've been going for, I believe, just about an hour. We've
Oh,
been
Yeah.
more than an hour.
an hour and 5 minutes. We hit the mark.
Hour 40 something minutes.
An hour and 40 something minutes into the call, but just the podcast itself, it's been about an hour and 5 minutes. Again, this is something that we love doing. It's something that we always kind of want to bring something different to the table. I love doing it. I know all of us on this
Yeah.
podcast love doing it. And hopefully you guys listening love doing it too. Well, listening
What?
to us. Sorry. Sorry, see, I'm still on the topic of sex. But hopefully you guys enjoy listening to it too. If you have any questions, any opinions, any things you want to say, or anything that you want to throw your voice at, after the fact on the show, feel free to leave it in the comments. Write any one of us on our social media pages, which I don't think we're posting as of right now. We're just trying to get the show off the ground. If we do decide to post it, by all means, DM us if you feel comfortable doing that. If you're gonna send me pics, ask first.
No dick pics for Sunny.
Right.
Consent is key. Remember that. So, with that, that was just me leading the major part of the outro. Whoever wants to take the ending part, the official outro, you guys can take it from there.
You want to do it, Rachel? Or you want me to do it?
I got it.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to 2 to 1.
Bye.
See you guys next week.
Laters.